You've studied, you networked like crazy, you learned how to code, you redid your resume about 84 times, and then you aced the coding interview. Congratulations, now you are a professional software engineer. But now what? Onboarding can be really challenging for companies to organize because for any employees who've been at the company for any length of time, they might not remember what it is that they didn't know joining the company. Not to mention, every single new hire comes in with a different baseline of knowledge and pre-existing understanding of the company and of the tools that they're going to need to use from day to day. Some companies that are busy enough to need new hires think that they're a little bit too busy to put together a good onboarding experience for those new hires. Unfortunately, they don't realize that they're hurting themselves with this mindset. Employees who've been onboarded at a tech company before have kind of been through this process before, so they know how to help themselves when they need help. How can you make onboarding easier on your company and yourself without having that experience? Ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, but do yourself a favor and write down the answers to those questions once you get them. That way, when the question comes up over and over again, as it likely will, you can have something to refer back to instead of constantly asking that same question over and over again. If you haven't been asking the same question over and over again, but you are getting pushback that, oh, you're asking too many questions, that's a red flag, and I would see it as a reason to start looking for a different job. Remember that challenging your own assumptions is a basic part of being a software engineer. So challenge your assumptions, ask all of the questions, don't assume that your question is dumb. If you have that question, it's very likely that someone else has or had that question at some point. What are some of the first questions I would ask if I were onboarding as a new dev? Find out if you have an onboarding buddy. A lot of companies will set you up with an onboarding buddy to help you figure things out the first couple of weeks. Once you figure out if you do have an onboarding buddy, reach out to them if they haven't reached out to you. See what their expectations are, how much time they figure they might be spending with you to help you get on track. You will likely feel really comfortable asking this person questions knowing that they are your onboarding buddy. So hopefully they do give you the impression that they're willing to spend a lot of time answering questions for you. If you get the idea that they are trying to limit the amount of time they're spending with you to answer questions, they might have a lot on their plate right now, so it's fair, but make sure you find out where you can go instead of always referring to that person. Does your company use Slack? Does your team have a Slack channel that would be a good place to reach out first when you have any questions? If you run into issues setting up your computer, is there a specific team that you should address? Find out how frequently you and your manager will be meeting. Do you have regular one-on-ones scheduled? Is that something you can request? Once you're able to talk to your manager in a one-on-one setting, see if there's some sort of career ladder that's set up that can help you outline expectations in your current role. My experience and the experience of a lot of other people I've talked to, imposter syndrome starts to really set in this first couple of months on the job. But if you know what's expected of you, it'll help ease your panic. Something else to ask your manager, see if they have hired someone for that same role in the past 12 months. If not that manager in particular, see if anybody in the company has been hired for a similar role. What suggestions does your manager have based on that previous similar hire? Next question to ask, see if you can get a good overview of the company. Make sure you understand what it does, how it interacts and helps its customers. Get an understanding of how you guys make money. Also try to get an overview of the app architecture of any of the apps that you're going to be working on. You might end up working on microservices. You might end up working on a monorepo. Get an understanding of how the pieces fit together, even from just a really high level, as early on as you can. Getting this high-level view of things is going to help you keep in mind the why of when you're working on a ticket. Like, what is the point of this ticket that you're working on? That's a more advanced point of view probably than what is expected of a junior developer, but it's going to bring a lot of value to any company if you can have that in the back of your mind with everything that you do. To be honest, Most of the first 2 weeks of my job, I was just shadowing people. I got to see different people on different teams and shadow them for an hour or so each, and it helped me see from a high level how our company worked. One last really helpful question to ask: what tools do your teammates use on a daily basis? Are you focusing on tracking down back-end bugs or bugs in general? Hopefully you have some sort of logging tool. There's a bug in here. What was I saying? A lot of companies will use tools of some sort to track back-end endpoints. As each and every endpoint get hit, it'll log the information that was being passed to that endpoint, and that'll help you track errors as they come up in your code. There might be dashboards that are really helpful too. So talk to your teammates and see what it is that they use on a daily basis so that you know what you need to start getting set up. So those are the basic questions that will be really helpful for you and for your teammates to get answered as quickly as possible in your onboarding process. And something that I would recommend for you to do is view this whole process as through the eyes of the next onboarding person. If you run into roadblocks and maybe find a document that is out of date, take the time to update that documentation for new hire Napoleon, is what we always call him, the person that's going to join the team in 6 to 12 months. We just want to make that experience as easy as possible. As you come across information that you wish you had a list for, make that list. That's going to be really valuable for your team moving forward, so it's easier on that next person to get caught up to speed and get ramped up really fast. If you're worried about maybe the rate that you're getting ramped up and maybe you're not contributing as quickly as you would like to in code, this is a really great opportunity for you to contribute to your team in a really meaningful way. That's all for today, friends. If you have recently joined a team yourself and you have additional advice that you think other people would benefit from, I would really appreciate it if you could comment in the comment section below and share your knowledge. Until next time, stay safe out there.